The Silent Deception. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the orbital defense station Arcturus, her reflection ghosting against the backdrop of Earth below. 20 years of peace with the Galactic Assembly had lulled humanity into a false sense of security. That peace, she now knew, had been carefully orchestrated to keep humanity docile while the Assembly prepared their masterstroke. The evidence had come to her through careful analysis of supposedly routine data transfers. As Earth's chief of Xenodiplomatic Security, she had access to transmission logs that others might overlook. The pattern had been subtle at first: microscopic variations in standard diplomatic packets, corrupted data that seemed random but carried hidden meanings when viewed through the right algorithms. "Commander, you need to see this," Lieutenant James Rodriguez called from his station. His dark eyes were fixed on a holographic display showing shipping manifests from the Assembly's trade routes. They're redirecting 90% of their merchant vessels away from the Sol system. The official reason is route optimization. But it's preparation for something bigger, Sarah finished, her jaw tightening. She'd seen this before, in historical records of Earth's own conflicts. When you plan to attack someone, you first protect your assets. The Assembly had seemed so benevolent when they first contacted Earth, offering technological advances and membership in their grand coalition of species. Humanity had eagerly accepted, dream-struck by the possibilities of faster-than-light travel and zero-point energy. But Sarah's father, a veteran of Earth's last great war, had always warned her, when someone offers you everything you want, look carefully at what they're taking. Now she understood. The Assembly hadn't given Earth technology out of altruism. They'd done it to study human innovation. Every gift came with embedded monitoring systems, every trade agreement with hidden clauses that allowed the Assembly to analyze how humans adapted and improved upon alien tech. Sarah moved to her private terminal, inputting her highest-level security codes. The screen filled with classified reports from Earth's deep space monitoring stations. The Assembly's activities at the edge of the solar system had increased threefold in the past month. Their ships weren't just passing through anymore. They were mapping approach vectors, analyzing Earth's defensive capabilities. "Lieutenant, get me a secure line to the Joint Chiefs," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of what she was about to report. "And Rodriguez, thank you. Your attention to detail might have just saved billions of lives." As she waited for the connection, Sarah pulled up the personnel files of key Assembly representatives. She'd shared meals with these beings, attended their cultural exchanges, even considered some of them friends. The betrayal stung, but it also awakened something else, a cold, calculating anger that helped her focus. The Assembly had made a critical mistake. They assumed that because humans eagerly accepted their technology, we would be helpless without it. They didn't understand that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in our tools, but in our ability to adapt and overcome. Every piece of alien tech they'd given us had been studied, reverse-engineered, and improved upon in ways they couldn't imagine. "Secure line established, Commander," the AI announced. "Joint Chiefs are standing by." Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "This is Commander Chen. Security Classification Omega. We have confirmed evidence of imminent hostile action by the Galactic Assembly against Earth, requesting immediate activation of Protocol Shadowfall." The faces of Earth's military leadership appeared on her screen, their expressions grim. They knew what Protocol Shadowfall meant: the activation of weapons systems and defensive measures that had been developed in secret, parallel to the Assembly's gifts. Humanity had never fully trusted their alien benefactors, and that paranoia was about to pay off. "Send your evidence, Commander," General Santos ordered, his weathered face showing no emotion. "And God help us all if you're right." As Sarah transmitted the data, she looked back at Earth spinning slowly below. The Assembly thought they were dealing with naive children who would roll over at the first sign of superior force. They were about to learn that humanity had grown up in a crucible of conflict, and we had learned our lessons well. The silent deception was ending. Now it was humanity's turn to reveal some surprises of our own. Operation Dark Dawn. General Santos stood in the heart of Mount Cheyenne's deepest level, a chamber unknown even to most military personnel. Around him, banks of quantum computers hummed to life, awakening systems that had been waiting silently for decades. The installation's true purpose was about to be revealed. "Status report," he barked, watching as technicians swarmed around crystalline matrices that merged human and reverse-engineered alien technology. The assembly had never suspected that their primitive allies had done more than simply copy their gifts. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading genotechnologist, approached with a holographic display hovering above her tablet. "Project Prometheus is at 89% readiness, General. The nanite swarms are fully programmed and awaiting deployment. Once activated, they'll be able to adapt to any assembly weapon signatures we've documented." The general nodded, remembering the day 20 years ago, when humanity first realized they couldn't trust their alien benefactors. While the public celebrated new technological gifts, a select group of scientists and military leaders had started Project Prometheus, humanity's insurance policy. "What about the Lazarus Protocol?" he asked, referring to the network of automated defense platforms disguised as defunct satellites. The assembly had dismissed them as space junk, never realizing each piece contained dormant weapon systems that combined human innovation with reversed engineered alien tech. "Ready for activation on your command," Maya replied, her dark eyes gleaming with pride. "The quantum entanglement network is stable. Once we go live, the assembly won't be able to jam our communications." In orbit, Commander Chen's warning had already sparked a carefully choreographed dance of preparation. Civilian ships were quietly being recalled under the guise of routine maintenance. Military vessels, hidden in underground bases on Mars and Europa, began powering up their systems. "Sir," a young lieutenant called out, "we're detecting increased quantum fluctuations from assembly vessels near Pluto's orbit. Their fleet is gathering." Santos accessed a secure terminal, sending coded orders to Earth's hidden facilities across the solar system. "Begin Phase 2 of Operation Dark Dawn. Let's show our friends what humanity has been working on while they thought we were just playing with their hand-me-downs." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, massive fabrication facilities began producing autonomous defense drones by the thousands. Unlike conventional weapons, these incorporated technology the assembly had never shared, innovations born from humanity's unique approach to solving problems. In laboratories across the globe, scientists made final adjustments to the Aegis system, a planetary shield that combined conventional energy barriers with experimental phase shift technology. The assembly sensors would be unable to detect it until it was too late. "General," Maya interrupted, her voice tense, "we're picking up encrypted transmissions between assembly vessels. They're accelerating their timeline. We estimate less than 48 hours until they make their move." Santos smiled grimly. "They think they're being clever, catching us off guard. Activate the Chimera Protocol." Throughout the solar system, seemingly innocent mining operations and research stations began transforming. Asteroid bases revealed hidden hangars full of ships. Gas giant atmospheric processors became weapon platforms. Everything humanity had built in space for the past 2 decades had been designed with double purposes. "Sir," Maya said softly, "should we inform the public?" The general shook his head. "Not yet. The assembly has too many eyes on Earth. We need them to think their deception is still working." He paused, studying a holographic display of the solar system. "How many ships can we field?" 3,000 combat-ready vessels, hidden throughout the system," she replied. "Another 5,000 automated drone ships. The assembly expects us to have less than 100 outdated ships based on the technology they shared." The deception had been costly and difficult to maintain. Every time the assembly gifted Earth with new technology, humanity had to pretend to struggle with its implementation, while secretly advancing far beyond it. The assembly's ambassadors had watched with patronizing amusement as humans bumbled through spaceflight with seemingly obsolete ships, never realizing each vessel was a carefully crafted fake. Status of the Thanatos platforms. Santos asked, referring to the weapons platforms disguised as communication relays near the moon. Armed and ready. Maya confirmed. The assembly still thinks they're using outdated particle beam technology. They haven't detected the quantum cascade generators. A sensor technician suddenly straightened in his chair. Sir, assembly ships are moving into attack formation near Neptune. They're earlier than expected. Santos reached for the secure quantum communicator. All commands, this is Control. Operation Dark Dawn is now active. Maintain deception protocols until my mark. He turned to Maya. Time to show the assembly why you don't underestimate humanity. Across the solar system, humanity's true military force waited silently. The assembly thought they were about to quarantine a primitive species that had barely mastered spaceflight. Instead, they were about to face an enemy that had spent 20 years preparing for this exact moment. The trap was set. Now it was just a matter of waiting for the assembly to spring it. The assembly strikes. High Admiral Zex Thrax of the Galactic Assembly watched Earth's blue sphere through the quantum viewport of his flagship, the inevitable destiny. His mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his species. The humans had been so eager, so trusting, never questioning why the assembly would share technology with such a young race. All attack groups report ready, High Admiral, his second-in-command announced. The humans remain unaware. Their primitive sensors show no sign of detecting our approach. What happened next would be recorded in galactic history as the moment the assembly learned their greatest lesson about humanity. As the assembly fleet surged forward, supposedly hidden from Earth's detection systems, Commander Chen's voice echoed through every human military channel. Execute Operation Dark Dawn. Show them what humanity can do. The assembly's first indication that something was wrong came when their supposedly undetectable ships triggered proximity alerts. Hundreds of defense platforms, previously invisible to their sensors, suddenly appeared throughout the solar system. Impossible. Zex Thrax chittered in alarm. Their technology level couldn't possibly. His words were cut short as the first wave of human counterattacks struck. The defunct satellites in Earth orbit transformed, revealing weapon systems that fired beams of concentrated dark energy. Technology the assembly had never even theorized possible. Multiple human vessels detected. His tactical officer screamed. They're emerging from everywhere, raiding thousands of ships. From the gas giants' atmospheres, from asteroid fields, from what appeared to be simple mining operations, humanity's true fleet revealed itself. Ships that combined assembly technology with human innovations appeared in perfect attack formation. On Earth, General Santos watched the battle unfold through quantum-linked displays. Deploy the Prometheus swarms, he ordered calmly. Billions of microscopic machines, each one containing more computing power than the assembly's largest ships, poured forth from hidden launch sites. They moved as one vast intelligence, adapting to and countering every assembly weapon signature they encountered. High Admiral Zex Thrax watched in horror as his supposedly invincible shields failed against weapons that shouldn't exist. How? He demanded. They were primitives. We monitored their development. Commander Chen's voice cut through the assembly's command frequencies. You monitored what we wanted you to see. Humanity has never shown its true capabilities to those we don't trust. The assembly's carefully planned attack dissolved into chaos. Their ships, designed to overwhelm the primitive defenses they expected, found themselves facing technology that had evolved far beyond their understanding. The Aegis system activated, enveloping Earth in a shield that defied the assembly's understanding of physics. Their most powerful weapons dissipated harmlessly against it, while Earth's defensive platforms continued their relentless assault. Multiple assembly capital ships have been disabled, Maya reported to General Santos. Their shields can't adapt to our quantum cascade weapons. They never imagined we'd develop technology they hadn't even discovered. The assembly fleet tried to regroup, to adapt to this impossible situation, But humanity had spent 20 years preparing for this exact scenario. Every assembly tactic, every technology, had been studied and countered. Your race deceived us, Zexthrax broadcasted, his voice filled with rage and fear. No, Commander Chen replied coldly. We simply didn't trust you. And you proved us right. The Thanatos platforms activated their main weapons, releasing concentrated bursts of quantum energy that ripped through space-time itself. Assembly ships found their own technology turned against them in ways they had never imagined possible. In the chaos of battle, human ships demonstrated maneuvers that should have torn them apart, using principles of physics the assembly had dismissed as theoretical. Each engagement revealed new examples of humanity's hidden capabilities. They're retreating, Maya announced, watching the tactical displays. Their fleet is in complete disarray. General Santos nodded grimly. Pursue within predetermined limits. Don't reveal our full range yet. Let them run back to the assembly with a message. Humanity is not to be underestimated. As the assembly fleet fled in panic, they left behind disabled ships and shattered preconceptions. The race they had dismissed as primitive had just demonstrated technological superiority in nearly every field of combat. Commander Chen watched from the Arcturus station as the last assembly ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel. Send word to all commands, she ordered. Phase 3 begins now. The assembly tried to cage humanity. Instead, they unleashed us. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. Humanity had revealed some of its capabilities, but many more remained hidden, waiting for the moment when they would be needed. The assembly had wanted to contain humanity. Instead, they had created the very threat they feared. And this was only the beginning. Humanity unleashed. The assembly's central chamber erupted in chaos as High Admiral Zexthrax delivered his report. Representatives from 1,000 species argued and accused, their voices rising in a cacophony of fear and disbelief. Impossible. The Kurthak delegates screeched. We monitored their development. Their technology was primitive. Ambassador Lyra, the assembly's foremost expert on human psychology, stepped forward. Her crystalline form pulsed with troubled light. You all made the same mistake. You watched their technology, but you forgot to study their history. Humans have always excelled at one thing, preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. Meanwhile, Earth's counter-offensive was already in motion. Commander Chen stood on the bridge of the EFSS Prometheus, humanity's most advanced warship. Hidden beneath an asteroid for 15 years, it represented everything humanity had achieved in secret. Multiple assembly defense fleets detecting our approach, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. They're moving to intercept. Chen smiled. Deploy the Phantom Fleet. Across vast stretches of space, thousands of holographic ships materialized, each one indistinguishable from a real vessel. It was technology the assembly had theorized but never mastered, perfected by humans who had centuries of experience in military deception. They're dividing their forces, Rodriguez announced, falling for it completely. The assembly's mighty fleets found themselves chasing shadows while real human ships struck their supposedly impregnable fortress worlds. The Prometheus swarms, now evolved far beyond their original programming, disabled planetary defense systems with surgical precision. On Earth, General Santos coordinated the offensive from Mount Cheyenne. Dr. Patel, status of Project Eclipse. Maya's fingers danced across her console. Ready, sir. The quantum network is aligned. We can disable their FTL capabilities across an entire sector. The assembly had never imagined that their FTL technology could be disrupted. They discovered their error as human ships deployed devices that created localized areas where faster-than-light travel became impossible. Entire assembly fleets found themselves stranded, forced to fight on humanity's terms. This is Commander Sarah Chin to all assembly forces, her voice transmitted across all frequencies. You tried to cage us. You thought we were children playing with toys you gave us. Now you understand. Everything you gave us, we improved. Everything you hid from us, we discovered on our own. And everything you planned against us, we prepared for. The Assembly's leadership watched in horror as their carefully maintained power structure crumbled. Human ships appeared from hidden bases throughout their territory, using technologies that combined assembly principles with innovations they had never considered. How did they hide all this? A junior assembly member asked Ambassador Lyra, watching tactical displays of yet another assembly fleet falling to human forces. They didn't hide it, Lyra replied softly. It was always there, in their stories, their movies, their games. They spent centuries imagining how they would fight vastly superior forces. When we arrived, they simply turned those imaginations into reality. The Prometheus led a strike force deep into assembly space, targeting their primary shipyards. The Assembly's defenders found their weapons useless against shields that adapted and evolved in real time, while human weapons bypassed their defenses completely. Multiple Assembly worlds are requesting negotiations, Maya reported to General Santos. They're starting to break ranks. Santos nodded grimly. Inform them that we'll accept their surrender. But the old assembly power structure ends today. Human ships demonstrated maneuvers that defied conventional physics, using principles derived from decades of secret research. The assembly's tactical computers, unable to predict or counter these new strategies, fell into confusion. Sir, Rodriguez called out on the Prometheus, assembly reinforcements approaching from the galactic core. Chen watched the tactical display, noting how the assembly ships moved exactly as their simulations had predicted. Deploy the gravity lance. The weapon, developed in secret beneath Europa's ice, fired a concentrated beam of manipulated gravitational forces. Assembly ships found themselves torn apart by forces they had never learned to control, their much-vaunted technology useless against human innovation. In the assembly's central chamber, the representatives faced a harsh reality. The species they had dismissed as primitive had not only matched their technology, but had surpassed it in many ways. Humanity had taken their gifts, improved them, and developed entirely new principles the Assembly had never imagined. We should have known. Ambassador Lyra addressed the chamber. Their entire history warned us. Humans don't just adapt to threats, they transform themselves to overcome them. We didn't cage humanity. We gave them the tools to surpass us. The Assembly's mighty empire, built over millennia, was being systematically dismantled by a species they had planned to subjugate. Humanity had not just survived their betrayal. They had turned it into an opportunity to reshape the galaxy. The war that was supposed to contain humanity had instead unleashed them upon the stars. And the galaxy would never be the same. A new dawn. 1 year after humanity's counter-offensive began, the great hall of what was once the Assembly's central chamber held a very different gathering. Commander Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood before representatives of every spacefaring species, her presence a symbol of how completely the galaxy's power structure had changed. The old Assembly failed. She addressed the gathered species, her voice carrying across the vast chamber, not because of superior technology or military might, but because they forgot the most fundamental lesson of civilization. True strength comes from unity, not dominance. The chamber, once decorated with symbols of Assembly power, now displayed a simple hologram of Earth alongside the flags of every species that had chosen to join humanity's new coalition, the Stellar Confederation. General Santos, watching from Earth via quantum link, couldn't help but feel pride. They had achieved something greater than mere victory. They had created an opportunity for genuine change. The Stellar Confederation, Chen continued, will operate on principles the Assembly forgot: transparency, mutual respect, and shared progress. No species will be deemed too primitive, no technology will be hoarded, and no decision will be made in shadows. Dr. Maya Patel, now heading the Confederation's scientific exchange program, stood next to a group of Assembly scientists who had defected during the war. Together, they had already begun sharing discoveries that the old Assembly had suppressed for centuries. We offer membership to all species, Chen announced, including those who once stood against us. The time for division is over. We face challenges that require us all to work together, genuine threats that make our recent conflict seem small in comparison. Ambassador Lyra, who had helped broker peace between humanity and many assembly worlds, stepped forward. The humans have shown us a better way. They could have dominated us as we once planned to dominate them. Instead, they offer partnership. The Prometheus swarms, once weapons of war, were being repurposed for peaceful exploration. Human innovation, combined with alien knowledge, was pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The quantum network that had coordinated Earth's defense now connected distant worlds in real-time communication. The edge of known space holds mysteries we've ignored for too long, Chen continued. The void storms in the galactic core, the silent zones where ships vanish, the dark flow that threatens entire systems, these are enemies we must face together. Lieutenant Rodriguez, monitoring the quantum feeds, reported increasing numbers of former assembly worlds applying for Confederation membership. They had seen how humanity treated its allies, with respect, dignity, and genuine cooperation. We learned something from the Assembly's betrayal, Chen addressed the chamber. We learned that fear of the unknown leads to stagnation. Progress comes from facing challenges together, from combining our strengths rather than exploiting each other's weaknesses. The Stellar Confederation's first joint project was already underway, a massive scientific expedition to explore phenomena the Assembly had deemed too dangerous to investigate. Ships crewed by multiple species worked together, using technology that combined the best innovations of all worlds. This is the dawn of a new era, Chen declared. Not one of human dominance, but of true cooperation. We invite all species to join us not as subjects, but as partners. Together, we will achieve what the Assembly never could, genuine unity in the face of the unknown. General Santos watched the proceedings from Earth, remembering the dark days when they had first discovered the Assembly's betrayal. They had prepared for war, but achieved something far greater, a chance to reshape galactic civilization itself. The stars hold both wonders and dangers, Chen concluded. We can face them as divided species, hiding behind walls of fear and mistrust, or we can face them together, combining our strengths and learning from each other. Humanity chooses unity. We invite you all to join us. As her words echoed through the chamber, representatives from hundreds of worlds stood in approval. The Assembly's betrayal had intended to contain humanity. Instead, it had unleashed something far more powerful, hope for a genuinely united galaxy. The Stellar Confederation was more than just a new political entity. It was proof that even the darkest betrayal could lead to something bright and new. Humanity had not just survived. They had shown the galaxy a better way forward. And as ships of all species launched together into the unknown, carrying crews united in purpose and spirit, the truth became clear. The Assembly's greatest mistake hadn't been underestimating humanity's technology or military might. Their greatest mistake had been underestimating humanity's capacity to forge unity from conflict, to turn enemies into allies, and to face the future not with fear, but with hope and determination. The dawn of a new age had arrived, and this time, all species would face it together.